Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I can see that there are still some folks slowly filtering in as we've just let folks in. So we'll give it another minute for the system to pull everyone in. But thanks for joining us on a Friday afternoon. We'll give it another 30 seconds for the system to bring in the last few folks. Perfect. I think most folks are in, so let's get ourselves started. So good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining us for passing the CFA information session with Michael Halinka. My name is Joanne Huynh, and I'm the Program Director for Business and Professional Studies here at SES. Before we get started, I wanted to cover a few housekeeping. The first is our land acknowledgement. I wish to acknowledge this land on which the University of Toronto operates. For thousands of years, it has been the traditional land of the Huron-Wendat, the Seneca, and the Mississaugas of the Credit. Today, this meeting place is still home to many Indigenous peoples from across Turtle Island, and we are grateful to have this opportunity to work on this land. Secondly, please note that this information session will be recorded. So in the event you are disconnected or would like a copy of the slides, they will be emailed to you within a few days of the presentation. Finally, I would like to take this opportunity to introduce Michael Halinka. Michael received his MBA from the University of Toronto and became a CFA chart holder in 2004. He is a tenured professor at George Brown College and design and is a sole instructor for the passing the CFA examination courses through the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies. For approximately 15 years, Michael was a business commentator for CBC radio and television. He has co-written 2 books with Kevin Sylvester and is the sole author of Stalled, Jumpstarting the Canadian Economy. He currently writes a regular column for Supply Pro magazine. And without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Michael Halinka.
Well, Joanne, thank you very much for that introduction. And everybody, thank you very much for attending on this. If you're in Toronto, looks like an absolutely beautiful Friday afternoon. Now, I'm going to be giving you the opportunity to ask a great deal of questions, any questions that you want to ask in the near future. But I want to start by asking you guys some questions. And without any further ado, the question should be popping up in the chat in any second. So are you currently working in the financial services industry? Either yes, full-time, yes, part-time, working but not in financial services, or I'm not working, I'm a full-time student. And I always think this is a little bit of a horse race. So it looks like that, yes, full-time, 6 answers, and I'm working but not in financial services, 6 answers. So 12 out of the 15 of you are working right now full-time. All right, let's go on to number 2, please. Are you most interested in CFA level 1, level 2, or level 3? And are you currently a CFA candidate? Well, here it's not even close. 12 out of the 15 respondents are CFA level 1 candidates. 3 out of the 15 are CFA level 2, and nobody right now is CFA level 3. 5 people have currently registered for the CFA exams, where the majority of you, 11 out of 16, have not. And I honestly forgot if there's one more question. I don't know if there is. I don't think there is. I think that is it, which means now it is my turn and the presentation will begin. Ladies and gentlemen, I firmly believe Toronto is the most competitive financial market in the world with the greatest expertise, hands down. And I say this with some familiarity with New York. I say this with some familiarity with London, England. But the reason why Toronto is as competitive as it is really has a great deal to do with our particular immigration policy and the scoring system that it takes to come into this country relative to what perhaps would happen either in the United States or in the United Kingdom. The bottom line, guys, in this market, accreditation matters. And to get ahead in this market, really what I think you'll need is either an MBA from a very, very prestigious school like a Rodman School or Schulich in York, or maybe an American school like a Wharton, the CFA designation, or you've got a close relative on the board of directors of a major financial services company. Now, my guess, if that would have been one of the questions, it would have been 0 out of 16, because if you had that, you wouldn't be thinking about the CFA designation right now. Now, a question that I often get, and I think it's a legitimate one, is given that the CFA, in a sense, was and is designed as a kind of correspondence course, why would I study with a provider like the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies? And what I would simply refer everybody to are the 10-year average pass rates. For CFA level 1, as you can see, 40%. For CFA level 2, 45%. And for CFA level 3, 52%. The majority of you are working full-time right now. I think the number exactly was 12 out of the 15 respondents, or 80%. And it is very difficult to balance career and academics. And when you layer on top of that not an insignificant cohort is also involved in a family situation where there might be children, it even becomes not even doubly more difficult, but triply more difficult. And what I would say is that the ultimate promise of what we do with the University of Toronto School of Continuing Studies, and the ultimate promise of passing the CFA examination courses, whether it's level 1, level 2, and level 3, is your studying time will never have been as effective as it is when you are part of this program. And, the metaphor that I'm going to be using here to sort of make the point, imagine you're going to a gym and you're training on your own, or imagine you've got a gym with a personal trainer who's basically hooked up, knows your pulse, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your oxygen utilization, and therefore can design and can give you exactly what you need at each moment to maximize your effectiveness. And that's what we do at the University of Toronto. Now, one of the differentiating features of what we do is that I will be your lone instructor, whether it's level 1, level 2, or level 3. I can tell you that once we experimented, now not with the CFA course, but with the Canadian Securities course. Once upon a time, we used to run classes, in-person classes for the Canadian Securities course. And what I did once was experimented with different instructors for different topical areas. So I would bring in somebody who did equity research to teach the equity portion of the Canadian Securities course. I would bring in a portfolio manager to teach the portfolio manager parts of the course. I would bring in an economist at the Bank of Canada in order to do the economics part. And the student satisfaction had never been lower. Oh, well, thank you, Margarita. That was very, very kind in the chat. Fantastic at teaching that course. Much, much appreciated. Anyway, what we found was that students love to have the ability on a class to refer back to something that happened the previous week, or to maybe even foreshadow with what was going to be happening in the week ahead. And that is the benefit of the lone instructor model. I urge students to think of this as a program rather than a course. And to me, what the difference is, when you talk about a program, you're talking about something that is very, very structured, that is giving you a clear indication each step of the way exactly what you should be doing. So our program, and this is true whether it's level 1 or level 2 or level 3, it starts with audio pre-lessons. I don't want you to read the material before you come to class, because it is time inefficient to read things you don't understand. what the audio pre-lesson does is contextualizes everything. And then what we will be doing in our class time is working through the proprietary notes. Now, whether it's level 1 or level 2, there are 4 hours of classes a week. For level 1, we will be doing our, what I would call the more traditional lecture on Tuesday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. For level 2, it's Wednesday night from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. And then there is a tutorial on Saturday morning for level 1 from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And for level 2, the tutorial on Saturday is from 12 noon to 2 p.m. I prepared proprietary notes that take you through all the material that you need to the necessary level of detail. All of the classes are recorded. And that means that if you would have to miss a class because of a work commitment, or look, maybe you just don't even feel well that night, or maybe it's your birthday and someone's going to be taking you out for dinner that night, the classes are recorded, the evening classes from 6 to 8. They will be posted on the learning architecture called Quirkus within an hour after completion. Same thing with the classes on the weekend. Within an hour after completion, it will be put on Quirkus. In addition to the entire 2-hour class being recorded, what I've also prepared are video modules, which are like focused like a laser beam. 3 to 5 minutes is generally the length on a particular concept or a particular calculation. So you don't have to go through the whole class recordings. If, for example, we did something on fixed income and, I really wasn't really sure. I heard him talk about duration and convexity, but, could I see an example of how we do the calculations? You don't have to go through the whole 2-hour thing. You could just go to the video module and view it and then get a clear understanding of that important point. Depending on the level, there are quizzes and or exams along the way, and you've got unlimited instructor access throughout the process. And finally, for everybody who is registered by Monday, October 7th, there will be a networking opportunity on Tuesday, October 8th. It is at a downtown location right after work from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. And what I want everyone on this call to understand is that if you register for the class today, which I obviously hope you do, otherwise I wouldn't be doing this, you can attend the first 2 classes, withdraw, and then get a total refund. So there is absolutely no downside. And I would really address this in particular to those students who have already registered for an exam. After this is over, you can go to the Learn U Toronto website. You can register for either passing the CFA Level 1 exam or the Level 2 exam. This will give you access to the networking opportunity Tuesday, October 8th, right after work. You can attend the classes either Tuesday and Saturday, Level 1, Wednesday and Saturday, Level 2. And if you don't think that this is going to be something that is going to lead you to success, you can withdraw at absolutely no charge. It's a really, really important feature. And frankly, I really don't understand why anybody on this call who's registered for the exam wouldn't at least give the first couple of classes a shot. Look, even if you withdraw, you're getting all your money back and maybe you'll learn something. You never know. Well, I did allude to what the start dates were going to be previously. So for CFA Level 1, Tuesday, the Tuesday after Thanksgiving is the first class. For CFA Level 2, the Wednesday after Thanksgiving is the first class. Altogether, no matter the level, there are going to be 40 classes. We're going to be doing 20 from, approximately mid-October to mid-December, mid to late December. Then we'll be taking a 2 to 3 week break. We'll be picking up in the new year in January and running from January through to March. The reason why we end in March is I want to give you ample time to review for the May or August exam. Now, of course, if you're writing the August exam, you got lots and lots and lots of review time. But what this course is really designed for, in my opinion, is primarily for those students who want to be writing in May, who want to get it out of the way, which is completely understandable before summer. Summers are so short in Toronto. You put your head down over the autumn and over the winter into early spring. You write the exam, you forget about it, you get your successful result in the summer, and then hopefully you'll be repeating the cycle the next year as well. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my email address, michael.halenka@utoronto.ca. And you're going to have the chance right now to ask any questions in chat or maybe even in your microphone. I'm also giving you the opportunity to connect with me through LinkedIn. And I will probably later on, after this call is over, be going on my LinkedIn and accepting the invitations and answering to anything that you might, be asking with respect to specifics about the class, career, really whatever you want to talk about. You can see, guys, the cost of the course is $1,995 plus HST. And this will give you access to the material or content for the entire calendar year through 2025. Guys, I believe in being as positive as possible, but you saw what the pass rates are. There are students who study with me and are unsuccessful. And if you are unsuccessful in May, then you could give it another shot in November, 6 months later, and there would be no extra charge. You would have access to the course at that time. Now, I see Margarita says the August exam registration doesn't open until November 6th, meaning materials may not be available for the first 2 weeks. Assuming that is okay, Margarita, that is completely okay. I would not worry about that at all. What I would say to those students is come and attend class. Don't worry excessively about falling behind because you're going to have so much time to make it up when classes are over. And then I'll be happy to put together a customized study schedule for you, as necessary. Grace asked, is there a course available for those who plan to write the CFA Level 1 exam? Grace, absolutely. See, the content doesn't change throughout the year. So if you would be thinking about November 2025, and Grace, here I'm going to address you in particular, this is what I would be thinking about. I would be thinking about attending class for October, November, December, January, February, and March. Now, you can buy the books. They're about, I think, $250 Canadian a la carte. Buy the books. I'm going to give you access to the notes. Then you could take a couple of months off in the summer. And then September, October, November, really grind out your review. And then you would be completely prepared for the November exam. And remember, Grace, you will have complete access to all of the contents, whether they're the audio lessons, the video modules, the classes. You will have access to all of that through next November of 2025, should you join the course that's going to be starting in, less than a couple of weeks. Yes, Daniel, there is only one course per year for CFA Level 2. And the reason for this is, look, you can sort of see in the background, I got a son who's 8 years old going on 9, and I like to play with him. So the deal that I make with my son is, daddy's going to be working really hard in the months of really sort of October because of Level 1 through the end of May. But we're going to have lots of time to play soccer and football and baseball in June, July, August, and September. That's my promise to him. It's a compromise he's happy with. Well, there really isn't, Rudy, a CFA Level 1 course in January per se. So really what we do, Rudy, is we set up the Level 1 class to prepare you for the exam sittings that would either be May, August, or November. Now, if you wanted to start classes in January, you could absolutely do that. Now, if you started in January, I would strongly recommend you would think about either the August or the November exam. And if you did that, Rudy, what I would be suggesting is pick it up with the live classes in January. I mean, you're going to be doing it a little bit out of order, but nothing that's going to be particularly bad. And then I would, together with you, I would be putting together a customized study schedule for you to pick up the first half of the classes when the other classes ended. So there is only going to be one class for Level 1. There is only going to be one class for Level 2 for the 2025 content. That's awesome. Any other questions, comments? And please, for everybody who's asked questions like, whether Margarita, Grace, Daniel, Rudy, if you guys want to have like a more in-depth conversation about your particular situation, this weekend is very good for me. I'm pretty much open. I talked about with Daniel, I talked about my son. So we play soccer. We play soccer with the neighbor. It's the dads against the kids. We have neighborhood games every Saturday and Sunday, but those are in the afternoon. So it would be very accessible to reach out and do a one-by-one Zoom call with you guys. either Saturday morning. Oh, there's a lot of great questions here. I'm going to get to them. I promise, Farhan and Vikas and Stefan. We've had plenty of time to do a call either Saturday morning or Saturday, sort of early evening into the evening, Sunday, the same thing, or Monday. Now, Farhan said, is it possible to write level 2 in May and level 3 later next year? Absolutely. Now, if you wrote level 2 in May, probably realistically, your first chance to be writing level 3 would be in the February window, of 2026. And that would be a definite possibility. Vikas asks, I have an engineering background and work as a software engineer. Is there any prerequisite to have the CFA certification? No, there is not. Stefan, similarly, are there recommended prerequisites before taking CFA 1? No. The way that the CFA curriculum is designed, ladies and gentlemen, it assumes that you've got strong reading skills, strong comprehension skills, and basic math skills. And what I mean by basic math skills is the math is really adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, and then learning how to use a financial calculator. And the financial calculator, by the way, is far less complex than learning how to use like an Apple iPhone or something along the lines of that. So there aren't the way that the curriculum is designed is it takes you on a very steep learning curve from assuming you know nothing to by the end of level 3, you basically know everything you need to know about the financial services industry and the finance industry, the global finance industry. And are there any other right now questions or comments? And remember, guys, you're perfectly free to email me at michael.halinka@utoronto.ca or connect through LinkedIn. It looks like quite a few of you have LinkedIn already with me. I'm not looking right now what the messages are. But if you're asking for a one-on-one discussion, happy to do it. And right now, with the time that we have, probably Zoom is going to be necessary, or maybe something in person next week. Guys, the last thing that I want to leave you with before I sign off is the following. If you register today, you will have access then to the mixer and basically the orientation session on Tuesday evening from 5 o'clock to 9 o'clock, where you will not only get to meet me, but you'll get to meet the other students or many other students who are doing CFA level 1 and level 2. I strongly recommend that if you are serious about the CFA designation and you think that this might be a course that's going to lead you to success, that you register for it. Natalia, I believe in the chat bar, put the link to learn UToronto CA earlier. Maybe you could do it, Natalia. Maybe you could do that again right now. Put the link in right after Farhan's thanks, Michael. I'm guessing that everybody has access to the chat and reading the chat. Perfect. Guys, register, attend the first couple of classes. You can withdraw if you're not 100% satisfied and get all of your money back. But the fact that you're spending time on a Friday, beautiful day where you could be outside at lunch, attending this this information session tells me that you're probably pretty serious about your CFA journey. And it strikes me that really you've got nothing to lose by registering, given that you can withdraw and get all your money back. Well, guys, I think that seems to be the questions for now. So I would like to wish everybody a really, really great weekend. And yes, I look forward to answering your calls for Zoom, your invitations on, your invitations on LinkedIn, and any email questions that you might have as well. Just a quick warning. I talked about my son before. You can see his fantastic artwork. Now, I'm thinking that in 5 years, he's going to be making so much money doing art. I want him to do CFA anymore. But that's great because for you guys, all of you who are listening to this, if you study, will have your CFA charters by then, and there's nothing to worry about. Anyway, I have to leave to pick him up at 2 o'clock. So I will be checking email and going on LinkedIn until 2 o'clock. If you don't get in touch with me by then, probably I won't be looking at it again until 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock tonight. But I will get back to you, I promise, in a timely manner, whether you connect with me through either LinkedIn or directly through the U of T email service. Joanne, I will turn it at this point back to you. And guys, thanks very much for your time and attention.
Thank you again so much, Michael, for sharing with us the overview of your classes and the CFA program as a whole. As you folks might have seen in the chat box, there's direct links to learn more about the program. We encourage that you save that link and or click on that. And finally, for those folks that might have either disconnected or joined a little bit late, do not worry. We will be sharing a copy of this recording soon through the email that you have registered. Given that it's a Friday afternoon, you might expect it early to midweek next week for the recording. And once again, thank you everyone so much. And I wish you all have an amazing weekend. Thank you.